Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I am Maliha Fatima, physics teacher from DPS Girls Senior Wing Model Town Lahore. This is lecture number 16th of 9th class physics. Today we will discuss 6th lecture of chapter number 3 dynamics. In this chapter we will discuss uniform circular motion, centripetal force, centrifugal force, banking of the roads, washing machine dryer and the cream separator. Before starting the lecture, let's have a brief review of the previous lecture. In the previous lecture, we have studied friction. Friction is the force that opposes motion of the moving objects. Then rolling friction. The force resisting the motion of the rolling body on a surface is known as rolling friction. Then braking and the skidding. If the brakes are applied too hard, then they lock up the wheels at once, and due to the large momentum of the car may skid off and lose its directional control. Then advantages and disadvantages of friction. Friction is undesirable in some cases, like it limits the speed of the fast moving vehicles. Most of energy is lost in the form of heat due to friction. Also it causes wear and tear of the moving parts of the machines. But sometimes friction is most desirable, like without friction we cannot walk on the ground, we cannot stop the motion of the moving objects, we cannot write on the paper, we cannot fix a nail in the wall, we cannot hold any object without friction. In short, we can say that life is not possible without friction. In the end, there are some methods of reducing friction, like lubricating the surfaces, making the surfaces smooth, and making the fast moving objects in streamlined shape. And by using the ball bearing in parts of the machine, we can also reduce the friction. Today we will discuss circular motion. The motion of an object in circular path is known as circular motion. There are many examples of circular motion, like motion of the stone tied to one end of a string is the circular motion. Motion of moon around the earth is the circular motion. Motion of the toy train on its circular track is also a circular motion. After learning about circular motion, we think that which thing causes the objects to move in a circular path. So the force that keeps the body moving in a circle is called centripetal force. Now in order to learn about centripetal force, let's consider the example of a body tied to one end of a string moving in a circular path, as you can see in the animation. Now, due to inertia, the body has tendency to move in a straight line along the direction of its velocity. As we know that inertia is the property of the body due to which it resists any change in its state of rest or of uniform motion. But as the body is tied to the string compels the body to change its direction of motion at every point by pulling it towards the center of the circle. This center-seeking force is called centripetal force. It always acts perpendicular to the direction of motion of the body. As you can see in the picture, that force, which is centripetal force, is always perpendicular to the velocity. To learn more about centripetal force, let's study some of its examples. Example number 1 is the motion of the stone tied to one end of a string and moving in a circle. The force that keeps the stone to move in a circular path is tension in the string. This tension in the string provides the necessary centripetal force to keep the stone moving in a circle. But if the string is not strong enough to provide the tension, then it breaks and stone becomes free. Now it is not bound to move along a circular path. The stone moves along its direction of motion due to inertial property. And we know that direction of motion of stone is always along the tangent to the circle. As you can see in the picture, that stone moves in the direction tangent to the circle. Second example is the example of motion of moon revolving around the earth. The force that keeps the moon revolving around the earth is the gravitational force of attraction between the moon and the earth. In both these examples, we come to know that centripetal force is always provided by another force. Like in first example, Tension in the string provides the necessary centripetal force, and in second example, gravitational force of attraction between the earth and the moon provides the necessary centripetal force. So centripetal force is always provided by another force. For the mathematical derivation of centripetal force, consider a body of mass m moving with uniform speed v in a circle of radius r as shown in figure. Then as the body is moving along a circle, it means its velocity is changing at every point, so it has acceleration which is called centripetal acceleration and is produced by the centripetal force. The value of this centripetal acceleration is AC is equal to V square divided by R. You must remember this value because its derivation is not included in your course. You will learn its derivation in first year inshallah. Now according to Newton's second law of motion, we know that F is equal to ma, so here in this case Fc is equal to mac, and hence Fc will be equal to mv square divided by r. This is the centripetal force of the body which is needed to move the body along a circular path and is directly proportional to mass and the square of the velocity and is inversely proportional to the radius of the circle. Now centrifugal force. As we know from the Newton's third law of motion, to every action there is equal but opposite reaction. So the reaction force of centripetal force is called centrifugal force. It is equal in magnitude to the centripetal force but opposite in direction. That is, if the centripetal force pulls the body towards the center of the circle, then centrifugal force pulls the body away from the center of the circle. As you can see in the picture that the arrow which is showing the centripetal force is directing towards the center of the circle, while on the other hand the arrow which is showing the reaction force, that is centrifugal force, it is acting away from the center of the circle. The next topic is actually about applications of centripetal force, which include banking of roads, washing machine dryer, and the cream separator. So in case of banking of road, we know that when a car takes a turn, then it moves along a part of a circle, and if a body moves along a circular track, then a centripetal force is needed. So here in this case, friction between the tires and the road provide the necessary centripetal force. Like in case of string, tension in the string provide the centripetal force, and in case of revolution of moon, gravitational force provides the centripetal force. So here friction between the tires and the road provide the necessary centripetal force to keep the car in the circular track while taking a sharp turn. But if the tires are worn out or the road is slippery, then they will be unable to provide the necessary centripetal force while taking turn, and the car may skid off the road. This problem is solved by banking of the curved roads. Banking of roads means that the outer edge of the road is raised. This causes the component of the vehicle's weight to provide the necessary centripetal force while taking turn. Thus, if tires are not able to provide centripetal force, then it is provided by the component of the vehicle's weight due to banking of the roads. Hence, banking of roads prevents the skidding of the vehicles and makes the driving safe. As in the picture, you can see car moving along a curved track having outer side of the road higher than the inner side, making a slope, and in this case weight is not balanced by the reaction of the road. Instead, weight is resolved into its two components. One of the component mg cos theta is balanced by the reaction of the road, and the other component mg sin theta, which is in the direction of the center of the circular track. This provides the necessary centripetal force. Washing machine dryer is also an application of centripetal force. It works on the principle of centrifuge machine, according to which it is a machine which is used to separate heavy and lighter contents of a mixture. Dryer has perforated walls having large number of holes in its rotor as shown in the video. When we put the wet clothes in it, then these wet clothes are the mixture of the water and the clothes. Out of this mixture, water is the heavier content and the clothes are the lighter contents. So when the dryer spins at a very high speed, then the heavy contents move towards the bigger radius, that is towards the walls of the cylinder, and the lighter contents gather at the center because of moving in a circle of smaller radius. So, because of holes in the cylinder, the water is forced out of the cylinder and the clothes become dry. The cream separator is used to separate fat contents in the milk and other products. The cream separator also works on the principle of centrifuge machine. So when it spins at a very high speed, then the heavy contents of milk move towards the outside in bigger radius, while pushing the lighter contents inward towards the spinning axis. As cream and the butter is lighter than the other contents of the milk, so it gathers near the spinning axis of the separator, from where it is collected through the pipes. In the video clip, different types of cream separators have shown. In the last of the lecture, there are some related exercise questions which you can easily answer now after learning this lecture. In question number 3.2, they have asked about define centripetal force, which you can easily define now. And then in question number 3.18, what do you know about banking of road and cream separator? Both these topics have explained in detail in this lecture, so you can easily answer these topics after learning this lecture. And in question number 3.20, why the spinner of the washing machine is made to spin at very high speed? This question has also been discussed in the washing machine dryer, and all the lecture was also in the form of the notes, so you can easily answer all these questions. In the end, you may be asked a question, define and explain centripetal force. This question also has been discussed in detail. So I think so after listening this lecture you are able to learn about centripetal force and the applications of the centripetal force. So good luck and Allah Hafiz.